Hello, this is a continuation of the retelling about the little tree lover. In general, put likes, write comments, and subscribe to the channel on Boosty. On Patreon where the videos come out earlier. And without censorship, many thanks to everyone who has already subscribed. And don't forget about Facebook too, so let's get started. Last time it all ended with the fact that Lee was tired of listening to the insults of the aristocrat, and finally decided to inseminate this next tree. Throwing it on the table, he pulled off her shirt with a bra, took off his mask, closed his eyes, and was about to kiss her during these few seconds that the boy was drawn to her. The girl thought maybe it's not all that bad, because before that she had no experience with such ugly people. As a result, she reached out in response, which surprised the hero. He asked with a smile that he couldn't stand anymore. The girl screamed that it wasn't so. And right at that moment Lee pounced by sticking his tongue into her mouth. He described in his head how her hard, rebellious tongue encircles him, how her eyes become cloudy and her arrogant voice turns into a sweet moan. There were no signs of resistance to his caresses, so Lee continued, took off his skirt. And suddenly she said that she had a boyfriend. Lee thought about it a little and he would have to die anyway because of the failure of the quest, so it's better to have fun at last and die at the hands of some guy there. So she slowly invades the territory of the sacred tree with her fingers, realizing that she is which means that she enjoys calling him a liar. The girl keeps shouting that no, she's not like that. Then he asks, what is it? And the girl replies that he was sweating, Lee, smiling from such a stupid excuse. The hero tears up her panting, and a girl begs for mercy and says that she no longer needs these balls if only he would just leave. But it's too late, Lee answers and takes off your pants. Seeing his dignity scares the aristocrat who begs not to enter and tries to threaten that if he does he will not live. However, she does not even have time to finish the sentence, as the entrance to her plantation occurs with such force that her shoes even fly off. The advantages of the guy are very big, and the girl can't understand it seems to hurt him, but it seems nice. Paying attention to her facial expression, Lee is asked the question, what did you like? She answers that no, she didn't like it at all. Then Lee, well, if it's true, then I'll stop. The girl decides to demonstrate even more how terrible it is, eventually calling him very small and scary. This was her next mistake, and of course, Lee cannot forgive this and continues her attack, makes her even more powerful at times, and also makes the lady apologize for these words by biting her nipple. All this action takes place for a few more minutes. The guy manages to change his position and realizes that he fucking likes it all. The girl floods the whole floor, her clothes get wet, and after a while everything comes to an end. Lee feels that he'll be done soon, and the girl claims that it is impossible to end inside because today is an unsafe day. I think you've already guessed that our boy doesn't care about this as much as possible. He finishes and the girl demands to pull out the device and asks, what do you think now? I'll just let you go. However, she turns around and is surprised to see that Lee is ready for a second attack. With a menacing face, Lee whispers, I may have forgiven you. But he is not satisfied yet. The sacred tree is making concessions again. If the young man stops now, then nothing will happen to him. Despite this, the hero intends to reach the end since she said before that to forgive him means everything will be fine. The second approach was tougher, and the aristocrat realized that she even liked it, although she continued to shout for Lee to do it more gently and slower. To each such request, he replied, what did you say? You want it tougher? The tree felt pain and nevertheless enjoyed it. It was getting harder to pretend to be an innocent girl. At some point, she began to dream about how he takes her by the head and accidentally said it out loud. Now Lee is convinced that he likes it all and self-confidence has increased. He became even tougher and called her masochistic pervert and began to slap her ass hard, feeling that she was getting wet from every blow. Soon he grabbed her skirt and began to pull with such force that it was hard for her to breathe. The girl began to yell, well, this time it really hurt, and Lee decided to joke again, first stopping for a while, and then continuing with a vengeance. Looking at the tree's face, he laughed at the realization that she really liked it, and soon finally finished and to inside again too. The guy was completely delighted with the tree people. He was worried about the question of whether all tree people were like this or not. Only the aristocrat herself at this moment was lying on the table and not saying a word. By the way, I completely forgot that it was his future wife who forced him to complete this quest to conquer this oak, which is actually very strange if you think about it. Anyway, at the end of the task, Lee received another arboreal ball, as well as an entry in the Oak Tree Encyclopedia, giving him a small bonus to wind magic. Now that our boy has completed his first quest in his life, he puts on the mask again and realizes that this world is full of other interesting people, so he will try his best to enter the academy to fill out his encyclopedia completely. Remember guys, I already told you that our hero is a good guy. Last time he cleaned up after himself, and this time he shared the ball, only for some reason he put the ball in his ass. But nevertheless, she wanted it, and she got it. And it is also written about her in the magazine that her name is Lee Si-young. Soon the guy leaves the building with a sense of accomplishment, saying out loud that he spent a lot of fun, despite the fact that he will probably be killed. In general, he had a great day, so it's time to go home. When Lee arrives, he sits down and reflects on what happened. It finally dawns on him that he had just fried an aristocrat from a family of noble trees, but fortunately, Si-young did not send anyone to destroy him. Instead, she looked completely shaken now, and just walked out of her office and didn't say anything to her security chief in the end, although he heard sounds coming from the room. The only thing the tree did was hand over the arboreal balls received from Lee to the guard. The man seems about to suffocate from the unpleasant smell, but the girl did not specify where he had been. Now fast forward a couple of days, and the guy has started giving back skills again. He trains at every opportunity, because he knows that time is not waiting for entrance exams very soon. Even his future wife began to rejoice at his success and increasing charm, as he slowly and surely returned to normal appearance. He even had a press again, which is strange because, for a hero, it didn't disappear since Lee continues to see the original version of himself. Well, that's fine. In the end, our boy received a notification from the World Purity Tree that his weight level had shifted from huge obesity to slightly overweight. And there is a big time skip. We are transported to the day of the legendary entrance exams, on which it depends whether the guy will live a little further or just die because of their failure. Arriving at the academy, he sits down and waits, but he is already shaking like crazy with excitement because failure is not an option. As Lee found out, the exam is actually a duel between everyone who wants to enter the academy. All our boy needs to do is just defeat the one who falls out to him, and everything can continue calmly in this completely new world. But after looking closely at who is next to him, the guy realizes that his opponent may be a representative of the weaker sex. And this is not just some ordinary girl. Because on closer examination, Lee finds out that the girl with pink hair is Azalea, and it just so happens that she is the heiress of a very famous kind of holy tree. Another beautiful tree woman made Lee stop worrying because he was distracted by his beautiful form. But the boy looked at her for too long and Azalea noticed it, which made her call out because no popular girl wants the attention of an ugly guy. The heroes respond very awkwardly because playing games all day long he has not learned the skills of social interaction, but he still somehow manages to justify himself by saying that he saw her on the news. Fortunately for our guy, she fell for his unconvincing excuse, so she stopped having a dialogue with him and returned to looking at the wall with an absolutely bored look. But soon she stops being so bored when a guy named Young Si-woo comes and sits down. Azalea instantly reduces her gaze with obvious interest. Of course, Lee feels depressed and envies the fact that Si-woo has to do nothing but sit down, and the girls have already begun to fall in love with him at first sight. However, jealousy takes a backseat when he hears the examiner summon his group. The hero quickly switches his attention to the exam. He needs to give his all, otherwise he will be sent to the afterlife. Then, after entering the playground, Lee learns that he may have to fight not only with Azalea, but also Si-woo, which is 1.5 times bigger than our guy. He begins to make fun of Azalea, like he will destroy her out if they meet. And she answers him there, too, in the same way. In general, they just have a nice conversation, while our boys are worried about feeling deprived. However, it quickly turns out that Si-woo is actually a pleasant person as he includes Lee in the conversation asking how his written part of the exam went. Then he tells him that they are both people and as representatives of the same race they need to help each other. Unfortunately for these two people, both are chosen first for the duel, and they are offered to choose a weapon, a wooden sword or a wooden staff. They go out, and Si-woo informs the hero if anything then without offense, but does not have time to finish as he is interrupted by Azalea wishing him good luck. At this moment, Lee became so lonely that he could also use a little luck. As a result, both chose a wooden sword as their weapon. The instructor is commanding, and our kid is trying to reassure himself that they are both people and he still has a chance. However, just a second after the start of the duel, Si-woo is lightning fast closing the distance between them, and hits his sword so hard that he breaks Lee's weapon. The enemy continues to advance with a desire to kill him, and fortunately for the hero, right before he struck another blow, the instructor intervened and ordered him to take a new weapon because his opponent violated the rules of using spells. Nevertheless, the enormous strength demonstrated by Si-woo instilled doubts in Lee's head, and whether he would be able to win at all. At the moment when all hope is lost, his future wife, the World Tree of Purity, interrupts him and encourages him, saying that he can do it, and motivating him to win beautifully. And you can like this video for its beauty. And that's how, with the help of a tree, confidence returns to our boy. He is preparing for the second round. As soon as the instructor with the command began, Lee instantly rushed forward to victory. Unfortunately, he did not have time to do anything, as he was knocked down having received a lot of bruises. But at least the blows he received were not inflicted with a real sword, losing in a stylish manner, and leaving the hero meet Si-woo and Azalea, who came to tell him that he had done a good job. Despite this, he had to leave the academy with a feeling of utter devastation, constantly remembering his farewell to them, because the only thing he could answer them was, "You guys are doing great too." The hero dressed the mask. This defeat of course left a bitter taste in the mouth. And suddenly, as if by the dictates of fate, he ran into Si-young, who was walking down the corridor of the academy. The girl starts to get annoyed at the sight of Lee, and because of what he did to her then, but we all know that she was just playing hard to get because she clearly liked every moment spent with him. Anyway, Si-young tries to tell him off for that act and threatens that just one word from her and he'll be killed here. But our boy does not give in and notices that her badge says that she is the mentor of this academy. He decides that this girl will be the key to his return. Baistri grabs her by the chest and then instantly retreats, forcing her to scream in front of everyone. This forces the tree to agree to go with him to a more secluded place. On the way, our little boy, who for some reason behaves like this only next to this girl, asked how she liked the arboreal ball he left last time. The lady for some reason did not really like the place from which she had to get it. In the end, they came to a free office. Si-young opened the door with a facial expression that can only be seen in a very cultural anime, although we all already understand how it will most likely end here. In general, the lady asked what he was doing, and Lee directly asked if she wanted to get some more arboreal balls, and then began to talk about how he failed his admission test. After finishing explaining, Lee cut to the chase, and wondered if Si-young will accept this balloon bribe in exchange for helping him get into the academy. At the beginning, of course, she sent him off and then explained that even with her help, such a lustful bastard is unlikely to succeed. Since this is a very serious place, he will most likely be expelled. Of course, the tree's answer did not suit our boy, and Lee did not intend to tolerate such an appeal to himself. The control of his anger is broken again, so he shouts at her, demanding to speak more modestly. Otherwise, promises to hit her with his stick as punishment. Si-young managed to imagine how she was being punished with this stick, which she really wanted. While she was flying in her fantasy, the hero rushed at her with a fist. They say it won't do if die together. Fortunately, this story is not about that. And just before the fist came into contact with her face, the girl managed to stop him, wondering if he could try his fire stick again, since she didn't really try it last time. The guy calls her a masochist pervert, and the girl makes excuses that it's just for the sake of this arboreal ball, but promises that she won't forget it, hints that she will help him to with academy. After that, our brother's anger subsides, and they conclude an oral agreement in which he does what he did last time, and she helps him. Lee grabs Si-young hard by the hand, throws her on the table, pulls down her pants, and tells her to open her mouth. The execution of this oral contract will begin right now in this classroom, which they have not closed. The guy takes on the role of a teacher by inserting his index stick into his mouth and going to teach her that lying is bad. However, soon it becomes difficult for him to move. He only after a duel and his whole body hurts. Therefore, they demand that the aristocrat continue herself. She pulls the stick out of her mouth for a second to catch her breath, and Lee asks who allowed her to do this, pulling his boyfriend aside by hitting him in the face. The second lesson is that she can breathe through your nose. He wonders how she got a job here if she is so stupid. After that, the hero wins her badge on his appliance and orders her to continue looking at herself in the eyes. That's probably the end of it today. But if you want to watch the sequel right now, you can subscribe to Patreon, where my video will be without censorship. There are already 3 parts of the story out there. Also subscribe to Facebook, this channel too, put likes, write comments. And thank you very much for watching everyone so far.